Welcome, friend. In a world full of noise, may this moment be your gentle pause. Today, we'll explore a teaching that invites stillness, clarity, and inner peace. Have you ever felt your mind become a battlefield, a place of turmoil and struggle? It feels as if unseen forces are pulling you in different directions, stealing your calm and leaving you exhausted. You are not alone in this feeling. The Buddha taught that much of our inner unrest comes from very specific sources. He called them the afflictions, or as they are often known, the 5 poisons. These are not external enemies, but powerful energies within our own hearts and minds. They are greed, anger, ignorance, pride, and doubt. Understanding them is the first step to transforming them. Today, we will walk a path of gentle recognition. We will learn to see these poisons not as moral failings, but as visitors in our mind. And we will discover the antidotes that can heal them, turning our inner battlefield into a garden of peace. Let us begin by gently getting to know the first poison, greed or attachment. In its simplest form, it is the voice that whispers, "I need more." It is not just a desire for material things. It is the craving for pleasant feelings, for praise, for security, for experiences. It is a hunger that is never quite satisfied, leaving us in a state of perpetual lack. This attachment creates a subtle tension in our being. We cling tightly to what we have, afraid to lose it. And we constantly chase after what we do not have, believing our happiness lies just outside of ourselves. The antidote begins with seeing this process. Notice the feeling of wanting when it arises. Just observe it without judgment. See it for what it is, a passing energy. The second poison is anger or aversion. This is the energy that pushes away, that says, "I do not want this." It manifests as irritation, frustration, resentment, and even rage. Like a fire, anger burns the one who holds it first. It consumes our peace, clouds our judgment, and can damage our connections with others in a single heated moment. It often arises when our desires are blocked or our expectations are not met. It is the painful response to feeling hurt or threatened, whether the threat is real or perceived. To work with anger is not to suppress it, but to meet it with a cooling balm. As the teachings suggest, the most powerful antidote to anger is loving kindness, or metta, a warmth that soothes the inner fire. Now we meet the third poison, which is said to be the root of all others, ignorance or delusion. This is not a lack of information, but a fundamental misunderstanding of reality. It is the fog of confusion that prevents us from seeing the interconnected and impermanent nature of life. It makes us believe that fleeting things are permanent and that our separate self is a solid, unchanging entity. Because of this ignorance, we chase after things that cannot bring lasting happiness. And we run from things that are unavoidable parts of life. We are essentially lost, searching for light in all the wrong places. The antidote to this deep-rooted confusion is wisdom. It is the light of awareness that patiently, gently begins to cut through the fog. This wisdom comes from learning, reflecting, and looking deeply within. The fourth poison is pride, or arrogance. This is a very subtle energy. It can manifest as feeling superior to others, a kind of inner inflation that builds a wall between you and the world. But pride has another face, the feeling of being inferior. Both come from the same root, an overemphasis on the self, constantly comparing and measuring ourselves against others. This constant comparison is exhausting. It separates us from genuine connection and traps us in a lonely palace or a lonely prison of our own making. It prevents us from learning with an open heart. To heal pride, we practice humility. We contemplate how interconnected we all are. Every person we meet knows something we do not. In this way, we are all students and we are all teachers. Finally, we come to the fifth poison, doubt. This is not the healthy questioning that leads to wisdom. This is a corrosive doubt that paralyzes us. It is the wavering mind that questions our own ability to grow and change. It is doubt in the path of practice and doubt in the existence of goodness within ourselves and others. This doubt drains our energy and keeps us stuck. It whispers that our efforts are pointless, that peace is impossible. It is the anchor that keeps us from setting sail on our own spiritual journey. The antidote is the cultivation of faith or confidence. This faith is not blind. It is a trust that grows from taking small steps on the path and seeing the results for ourselves, however small. Now that we have met these 5 energies, let us turn our hearts toward the path of healing. The Buddha did not just point out the poisons, he gave us the exact medicine for each one. For the poison of greed and clinging, the antidote is generosity and the contemplation of impermanence. We practice giving, not just things, but our time, our attention, our kindness. We also look deeply at the objects of our desire. We see that everything changes. The pleasant feeling fades. The beautiful object will one day decay. This is not sad, it is liberating. We can love and appreciate things without needing to possess them forever. By embracing impermanence, the tight fist of our clinging heart begins to relax into an open palm. We find a new richness, not in having, but in letting go. For the poison of anger and aversion, the direct antidote is loving kindness and compassion. When the fire of anger arises, we learn not to add more fuel to it with angry thoughts. Instead, we can place a hand on our heart and offer ourselves some kindness. We can say, "May I be peaceful, may I be free from this suffering." We tend to our own wound first. Then, when we are able, we can extend this wish to the person or situation that triggered our anger. We practice patience, understanding that everyone is fighting their own hidden battle. This is the cooling water that quenches the flames. This practice of metta, of gentle friendliness, dissolves the hardness of anger and leaves our hearts soft and resilient. It is a shield of warmth that protects our peace. For the poison of ignorance, the root of all suffering, the antidote is wisdom. This is the path of learning, contemplating, and meditating, as outlined in the Noble Eightfold Path. We start with right view, the effort to see things as they are. We learn about cause and effect, about impermanence, and about the nature of our own minds. This is like finding a map in the dark forest. Through mindfulness and meditation, we turn this intellectual knowledge into direct experience. We watch our thoughts come and go. We feel our feelings rise and fall. The fog of confusion begins to thin. Wisdom is not a destination, but a gradual clearing of the sky. With each moment of clarity, we are a little more free. The light of awareness becomes our true guide. For the poison of pride, the medicine is the contemplation of no self, or anatta. We look deeply and see that what we call me is a temporary gathering of many different elements. Our body, our feelings, our thoughts, our perceptions are all flowing and changing. There is no fixed, separate I to be proud of or ashamed of. This insight brings immense freedom and humility. We also practice seeing the good in others and rejoicing in their happiness. This practice, called mudita, directly counteracts the tendency to compare and compete. It connects us in shared joy. When we see ourselves as part of a great interconnected web of life, the need to feel superior or inferior simply dissolves. We find our place, not above or below others, but with them. And for the poison of paralyzing doubt, the antidote is developing a wise confidence. We start by taking refuge, not in something outside, but in the potential for awakening within. We take refuge in the Buddha, the example of a human being who found freedom. We take refuge in the Dharma, the teachings that show us the way. And we take refuge in the Sangha, the community of friends on the path. We build this confidence step by step. We commit to a small, daily practice of mindfulness, even for just 5 minutes. We read a single paragraph of a teaching. We perform one small act of kindness. By seeing the positive results of our own efforts, our trust in the path grows organically. Doubt recedes not because we fight it, but because we replace it with the strength of our own experience. Knowing the antidotes is one thing. Applying them is the art of practice. This is where we learn to transform poison into medicine, right in the laboratory of our daily lives. The key practice is mindfulness. It is the gentle, non-judgmental awareness that allows us to see a poison arising in its infancy, like a tiny puff of smoke before the fire. When you feel a flash of irritation, that is the seed of anger. When you feel a pang of envy, that is the seed of greed. Mindfulness simply says, this is here, I see you. In that moment of recognition, you have a choice. You do not have to become the anger. You do not have to follow the greed. You can simply breathe and create a space around the feeling. This space is freedom. In this space, you can choose to apply the antidote. You can choose to meet irritation with a breath of patience. You can choose to meet envy with a wish for that person's happiness. There is a profound teaching that says we can even use the energy of the poisons themselves. They are powerful energies, and once we are no longer controlled by them, we can harness them. The energy of desire, when purified of clinging, becomes the powerful aspiration to awaken for the benefit of all beings. The passion is transformed into compassionate action. The energy of anger, when freed from hatred, becomes a sharp, discerning wisdom. It gives us the courage to protect the vulnerable and to establish clear, healthy boundaries with compassion. This is the ultimate alchemy of the spiritual path. We do not need to get rid of any part of ourselves. We only need to transform it with the light of our own awareness and compassion. The most famous symbol for this is the lotus flower. It grows out of the dark, smelly mud at the bottom of the pond, yet it rises through the water to bloom on the surface, pristine and beautiful. Mud is the 5 poisons. It is the messy, difficult, painful stuff of our lives. We do not need to run from the mud. The mud is the very fertilizer for our awakening. The lotus is our awakened heart, our innate capacity for peace, wisdom, and compassion. It is born from our suffering, but it is not stained by it. So be gentle with yourself. When one of the poisons visits, greet it with mindfulness. Recognize it as the mud, and know that within you is the lotus, waiting for its chance to bloom. Which of these poisons do you feel visits you most often? Gently acknowledging this is an act of great courage and self-compassion. It is the beginning of the journey home to yourself. Thank you for being here. If this teaching brought you calm or insight, consider sharing it with one person or many. May you walk gently today with peace in your heart. Until next time.